Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to look at how to analyze Likert skill data using Power BI. So we have a survey data in Excel that we collected from passengers on an airline. So the goal of the survey was to find out the factors that influence the decision of the passengers to pick our airline. So we asked them to rate their agreement or disagreement with set of statements which included the departure and arrival time was favorable, the connections were favorable, I have a frequent flyer account with this airline, the airfare was better, and so on. So we have some other details about the respondents, such as whether they live in the urban, rural, and so on. We also have the highest education, their occupation, as well as their gender. All right. So we want to analyze this using Power BI. So we already have our data in Excel. If you downloaded the data from a survey platform, you might have done some cleaning. It's quite flexible to do that in Excel. Or if you want, you can also send it to Power BI. You can do some cleaning there. All right. So we want to summarize all these statements in a single chart and be able to draw insight using Power BI. Alright, so how do we do it? So first, you need to go to launch your Power BI, and when you do it for the first time, you see that you have the canvas indicating where you can pull data. So currently, we do not have any data table here. So there are so many sources you can pull data. So if you have an Excel file like our case, you can just click here and get your data from Excel. You can also click here, then or you go to get data. So you can pull data from all these options. All right, so we have our data in Excel, so we just click here and it opens up the folder where we have the file. You can search for it and then you click on your Excel file. All right, so in this Excel file we have different Excel sheets so that have data. So when you load it up, you need to know which of the data tables that you want to work with. So we want to work with this one, which has our data. So we click on it. We can preview on the right hand side. Look at how the data is. Then you can also even preview other sheets that are in that Excel file. So we want to work with it, and then we just click it. So here you can just move directly to load this data table to your model, or you can click on transform if you still need to do some cleanings. Like our case, we want to unpivot before we proceed to our analysis. So what we need to do is that we can just do the transformation right from here, and then we then load our data to our data model. All right. So here, if you look at it, so we have our data loaded here. So what we want to do is that we can rename it as data sample. So this is the main data. So we will need to do some transformation with do and pivot and so on. So let's duplicate this data and then we name it as pivot data. Okay, so this data table that we are going to do pivoting and some kind of cleaning with the data that will allow us to just analyze it. So when you go to the right hand side, first you need to look for all the statements that you want to summarize into a single chart. So this is the first statement. So we want to select all these columns with the Likert skill responses. So just click the first column from your left hand side, hold down your shift key, navigate to the right hand side and click on the last column. So that's one way. Another way too is just you click on one at a time whilst you hold down your control key, be able to select all the columns. So once we do this, just right click on any of the selected columns and go down. You see pivot only selected columns. So we have pivoted this. So these are the statements, or you can call them as our F, or you can call it as the customer experience attribute based on what metric you want to gauge, or it could be the parameters that you want to get customers feedback on. So we call it, let's call it the statement. And these are the Likert skill responses. So responses. Okay. So we now have just two columns. So what we want to do is that another way that we can do is that let's also add what we call the top box score. So the top box scores are responses that customers responded to the upper part of the scale. So if you are using a 5-point Likert scale, like where you have 1 to 5, in our case we are using agreement disagreement scale. So this was on a 5-point Likert scale where we have from strongly disagree to strongly agree. So those who selected agree and strongly agree are the top two responses, and they are on the positive side. So some analysis, some focus on those top two box. Other analysis too, you may want to see how the responses spread across all the 5 points of the scale. So in that case, you wouldn't need the top two box scores. So let's add a column and call it the top two box scores. So in that case, we can try to look at the two options. We're looking at the, if your purpose of analysis is to see how the responses are spread across all the points on the scale, so you don't have to use the top box scores. But mostly some analysis too, they just want to look at those customers who agrees to the statement. So it will look at agree and then strongly agree. All right. So in that case, let's add a column and call it a top two box score. So these are the two approaches depending on what you really want to get out of your data. So let's add a column, a conditional column, and then they call it the top two box scores. So here what we want to do is that customers who selected the Likert scale responses are equal to agree. So you have to make sure that the text you are typing in is actually the spelling and everything aligned with the responses in the column that we are selecting. So those who selected agree, we want to return the statement for which they selected they agree. So we return the statement for which they responded that they agree. Or those who selected whose statements are equal to strongly agree. So we have strongly agree. So we want to return the statement that they agreed to. Otherwise, we want to leave it as now. All right. So that is it. Then we just close and load. So we have this top two box scores. So we are done. So once we are done, we just go to home. From home, you close and what? We close and apply, and then all the data tables will load to our data models. All right. So it's loaded. So now we can build our visuals now that we have data in the canvas. So on the right hand side under data, you see all the data tables that are added to the data models. And this is the unpivoted data example that we were working with. And then this is the one that we loaded. So these two are the two data tables that we have. So when you look on the left hand side, you see that we have a symbol that looks like a bar chart. So that's the report view. So that's where currently we are. So that's where we built our chart and everything and built our dashboard. Then we have this one is you can see the data tables that are there. So on the right hand side, when you click, then it helps you to see all the data that you have. All right. And then we have the relationships on the left hand side. So this shows you if your data tables have some common identifiers. So by default, the model will identify this and then connect them together. So it's very helpful so that you can link the relationship and connect data from different tables together. All right. So we want to build our Likert scale chart or table that we want to do. So on the right hand side, under visual, so we have different chart types that are available. So you select based on the insight that you want to generate and the kind of data that you have. So let's select table. So here in our case, what we want to do is that we have our unpivoted data. So we want to have, for each statement, we want to know how many respondents agree or disagree and so on to the statement. So we pick the statement and drop it in the row first. All right. Then, so for each statement, let's look at, on the column first, we want to drop our Likert scale responses. Great. And now what do we want to count? So we want to count it by what? Our customer ID. So when you look at this, it gives you the distribution of the responses across the scale. So our total number of respondents were 49. So in this case, we have our 49 as the respondents, and this is how the responses are distributed. All right. Then, so here, if you look at it, you see that those who agree, the total number of selections are more than the 29, because each respondent was supposed to respond to each of the statements. So they will have more than several people doing that. So now we can find percentage by row totals, because we want to see that for each statement, how many respondents agree, strongly agree, and so on. So we need to find the percentage by the total, by the row total, not the column total. It's very important. All right, so we just right click under here, then we'll see the different kind of summary statistics we have. So we want to summarize and show value as percentage of what? Row total. Great. And that gives us the percentage. So we can do a lot of formatting to this table. We can kind of format it and so on. So when you look at the visuals, this is where we build the visual. So on the right hand side is the format visual. So this is where you can format the table and any other chart that we have. So first, let's look at the percentages. We need to reduce it to just to 0 decimal places. So we can go to the values. So when we go to values, we can even increase the font size, the color, and so on. So we can do a lot of formatting to the values. And then when you come to the options, you have different kind of all values that you have. So you can format, change the colors, and so on. All right. Then if you also go to the tables, so we have different kind of table styles. So we can have this one that gives us the color. You can also select maybe this one, depending on the color scheme that you want to use. You can also have this and so on. So let's select maybe some simple table like this. All right. Then we can also look at values. So under values, we have all the formatting that we want to do. So we can, the text color, you can change the text color. It's already black, so you can change it to blue, depending on what kind of color you want to. All right. Then we can also look at the column headers. So we can format the column headers. Let's go to grid. So under grid, you have the color, so horizontal, the colors that you want to give to the horizontal rows, to the rows. Okay. And then we have the borders too. You can decide to kind of look at the borders if you want to remove them, if you want to include them, and so on. So you can do all formatting to that. Then under column headers too, we have the text. So you can center it if you want. You can also increase the width. If you want to increase the size of the text, you can do that. Then if you go to more options too, you can, it's already selected. So the size will be auto-fitted for that. Same with row headers too, we can format it. Then column, the column subtotals, you can format that. Then you go to cell elements. So we have cell elements, you can format, do some formatting that applies. All right. Then when we come to properties, so under properties, we can kind of like the rule and the height of the table and so on. We can do that. Then the title too, you can enable title for your table. You can insert the table. So yeah, example data. Okay, then you can give it a title. the font size too. You can increase it, the color, if you want to give it specific color, you can do that. All right, so let's give it red. Then we have, you can center it, do a lot of formatting to it, and so on. Then the effect too, you can format the background of the table. So let's say we want to do it like blue, so we can decide to narrow it a bit. Then or you can give it a color of maybe ash. So you can even size it up a bit. So we have it this way. Okay. And then header icons too, we can decide to add some icon colors to it. So if you have like icon, let's say this, you can do it or make it black. Okay. So now that we have our table, you realize that the Likert scale labels are not arranged from the strongly agree to the strongly disagree. So we would love to have that. But if it in Excel pivot table, you are able to just drag and rearrange this column. But in Power BI, this doesn't work. So how do we fix this? So what we need to do is to go to transform. Just click on transform. And what we want to do is that we want to add a column that we will use to sort this Likert scale responses. So we'll sort this Likert scale responses using that column. And what it means that anyway we use the Likert scale responses, it will automatically sort it using the column that we are going to add. So let's add a conditional column and then call it Likert scale sort order. So sort order. So when the Likert scale response is equal to strongly, so let's check the labels that we have. So strongly agree. Then we can give it like, because that's the highest, so we can give it any value. But let's use the standard Likert scale, which ranges from 1 to 5. 5 point. This was a 5-point Likert scale. So let's give this one 5. Then when it's equal to agree, we'll give it 4. When it's equal to neutral, we'll give it 3. When it's equal to disagree, we give it 2. When it's equal to strongly disagree, we give it 1. All right. So we load this, and what it means is that we are going to sort anytime we are going to link this column to this column that we've added. So anytime we add this column anywhere, it will be automatically sorted by in this order. So if we want to sort it in descending order, it will use it to sort it. If we also want to sort it by ascending order, it will work like that. All right. So let's just close and load this. All right. So once we load this, what we will do is that we have, this is the table. So we have the column, the Likert scale response column here. Just click on it and you see the column tools activated. So when you look down under sort, you see sort by column. So we want to sort it by the Likert scale sort order. You see, it works now. So we can click here and either sort it in ascending. Okay. So we have, so that is it. So we are able to arrange the Likert scale. So once you do that, it will sort it automatically. All right. So we fixed it. So now the next step is that let's copy this table and then use a bar chart rather than table. So we have the same table. All right. But we want to change this to a chart. All right. So let's insert a stacked bar chart because we want to have the breakdown for each of the Likert scale labels. So let's use 100% stack bar chart. So when you look here, we have to move the statement, the Likert scale responses to our legend. All right, and then we have this. Great. Okay. And so if you check, we have strongly disagree. It's been arranged in that order. So let's also arrange this in that order. So we have strongly disagree and so on. So we have like agree and strongly agree are closer. So with the with the chart tool, we can format the chart. So just click on the format visual. So y-axis, you can do that. So the legend, when we click here, we have you can indicate where you want to position the legend and so on. Then the color, if you click on bars, you have the bar chart. So strongly disagree is red. We can keep that. Disagree, we can make it like a light red. We can also put this one here, just a minute. Okay. And then we have neutral. Let's give it like ash. And then we have agree. We can give it a color green. Let's click here and get some more colors. Okay, maybe this, or maybe just let's see how we can. Okay, and then strongly agree. We can give it like deep blue. Okay, so you can decide to format it, but I encourage that the positive side, you give it like a closer color in a way that allows it to easily see how they are spread across. All right, so that is it. So still on the visual, we can decide to enable the data labels for the chart. So we can just click here, data labels, and activate it. That one too, we can check the number of and data values. We can check the decimal places we want to allow. All right, so we can even increase the size. Just click here, we have the size, so you can even increase it. All right, so this is how we go about analyzing the market scale responses in Power BI. All right, so responses in Power BI. All right, thank you. Bye.